Hi guys.
Hey, what's going
Hey,
on,
welcome.
peoples? Oh, you got
Hey, what's
you
going
could copy me?
on? Yeah, because you're the best. Why wouldn't I copy you?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that so much. I think you might be the best.
Oh, you don't have any arguments for that. You just
I don't have any arguments.
yeah, that's wrong. Can't prove it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you weren't gonna argue with me, and I'm like, yeah, you
Oh,
better
you
not
can't
argue
prove
with
it, and
me.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
Oh,
Yeah, that's both. You have something
some of the
fuzz
things,
here.
and you're just gonna have to go on faith that it's true.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I guess I could do that, but I don't want to.
Oh, well, fine. Shows your lack of faith, Ryan.
Yeah. In I can't even remember what we're talking about. My lack of faith in something. I think it was something about being
Lack of
better or
faith in you
something.
being the greatest.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't have faith in that. Um, doesn't mean I
It's
don't
great to
try.
see you two pair.
It is. It's lovely. I hope
Hmm.
that you can recover quickly from your flu. No, that's never fun.
Oh,
Ever.
yes. No, it is not.
I remember as a kid,
The flu stinks.
I was sick all the time, and I remember even thinking sometimes like, 'cause I hated school. I was like, man, wish I was sick so I just didn't have to be here. And then I get sick and you'd be like, yeah, I get to stay home. And then you're like, this sucks. Yeah, everything hurts. I forgot about that part.
Yep,
You're
it
like,
does.
oh, I
You're
don't
like,
want to
oh,
do anything.
man.
Yeah.
Yep. It's crazy because then when you don't get sick for a while, then you're just like, oh, whatever. It might be nice to be sick because then I could take some time off or
Uh-huh.
whatever. And then you get there and you finally get sick and you're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah, it really is bad.
105?
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. That's a high fever
Wow.
pair.
That is, they say that you start losing brain cells at 104. 105, you are like, wow, that's rough.
I mean, now you said in the chat that your brain was gonna liquefy.
Yeah.
At 105, it might.
Mm. A pair, just a quick.
Oh, it was a forehead temp. Okay, okay.
Oh,
So it was so
that's
is maybe not 100% accurate, but still something to pay attention to. Holy cow. That
hyperbole.
was hyperbole. Well, don't
um,
actually liquefy your brain.
yeah. So when I was a kid, my mom used to bring me into the doctors all the time because I had a temperature of like 104. And the doctor
Mm-hmm.
finally said, "Okay, stop bringing him in because I'm just going to tell you every time to do this one thing, and that is get in a bathtub of lukewarm water, basically the temperature of the air, and the water will
Mm-hmm.
like basically just take the temperature, just cool you right down, and then your kid won't die." And so,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's right. So, whenever I have a temperature that spikes like that high, now I just get literally just a damp cloth and rub it on my body, or if it gets bad, maybe I'll take a shower, slightly cold water. Or
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time when I was a kid, it was winter, so I literally just went outside and laid in a cold. It was like a 3 seasons room, which means it's a 1 season room because you don't really want to be in there any other season but summer.
I wouldn't want to be in there in the summer.
Yeah,
It'd be
well,
like
fair enough.
it's a
Yeah, it's
two
spring,
season, like spring and
spring
fall.
and fall.
Like
Yeah, it's a spring fall room. So I guess it's a 2 seasons. Yeah. So, anyways, it was in the middle of the winter, and I was just like laid out there with minimal clothes on, and just got very cold, and it was painful, but my temperature went right down. So, pair,
mm.
if it gets dicey, cool your temperature down uh by making yourself cold, even though that's very painful, because it's worth it. I know. Okay, good.
I mean, I don't know where you live, Pear, but
Been doing that
here
good.
in Michigan, we got lots of snow you can go roll around in.
Mm-hmm.
That might not be necessarily good for you, but it's an option. Yes,
Yeah.
shivers feel like a million
Yes.
needles.
Oh, I feel it.
Yes.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hate fever. Man, I hate
Yes.
fevers.
Ugh.
I have this thing. Pear, I want to know, do you sweat or not? Because the reason I get really high temperatures is because I don't sweat. Like, it's really weird, and I don't know why. I have sweat like a couple times in my life. Yes, a lot? Okay. For some reason, I don't sweat. And so my fevers never cool down because my body doesn't cool down. It just rises and rises and rises. And that's why I have to take water and literally make this fake sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Okay. But you weren't sweating a lot of the week, which felt weird. Okay. Yeah, that might be why.
That might be partly why your fever got so high, was
Yeah.
because you weren't sweating. So, yeah, because that's like as our body's cooling mechanism for,
Mm-hmm.
cooling us off. So, yeah.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, I think that's probably what you need to do. You need to get yourself nice and damp. take a regular rag. Doesn't have to be cold water, just water, and then damp your body down. It will and make that sweat happen. It's fake. Yeah, so that's the idea. I think that's what the intention is. Your body gets really hot. Well, it's a couple of things. Your body gets really hot, which allows it to move things around faster because your veins open up and things flow faster. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and also your body temperature being hot helps in the idea that you can actually sweat out the bad stuff. But that one doctors fight about and scientists fight about, and they're not sure whether you actually can sweat out sicknesses or not. They haven't confirmed whether it's actually possible. Some scientists say, yeah, we've confirmed that, and some say, no, we haven't. So it's up for debate. But anyways,
We can neither confirm nor deny.
yeah, we can neither confirm nor deny, but it definitely does help your body get things like from different locations to help aid certain areas. But yeah, if overheating is not good. So yeah. Thank you, Pear. We love you, and we hope that you can get better soon. Take
You're
great care
not
of
taking
yourself.
up our time.
Fine.
It's a gift to have you
It's
here,
on
Pear.
topic. We're talking about
Mm-hmm.
bodies, and the topic is don't forget to eat food sometimes. That's what the topic is right now. Oh.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what's our topic?
It says, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, and
welcome
don't
to-
forget to eat food sometimes.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, I need to do that.
Oh, yeah?
Uh,
Go on, then. No.
I'll do it later.
Oh, that's good.
It's
Oh,
fine.
breakfast sandwich. Aw, that's so sweet. I have a thing for breakfast sandwiches.
They're
Breakfast
fantastic.
sandwiches are great.
Mm-hmm.
Mianglios.
Manglios, good to see you, buddy. And
Young
good
chick.
luck on your project.
Yeah. Wow. Final one. That's nice. That's gonna feel great to have accomplished the class, and I hope it goes really well for you.
Yeah, I mean, it is that time of year, it's finals time.
Yeah, man.
But then once you get done, then it's winter break or Christmas break.
Finals were
were
always my favorite part of the
However you
year
want to call it.
because the teachers would stop talking and we could just like study a little bit in class, and it was good. And I liked doing tests, and I hated doing homework, and they wouldn't send us with homework during finals week. So I was like, yes, this is the best time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And Pear, yeah, I love bagels. Bagels are, me and my wife just love bagels.
Bagels, egg, and bacon.
Yeah, that's
that sounds like a great breakfast sandwich.
a bagel sandwich, a bagel breakfast sandwich. Oh, Japanese fine. That's wow. That's great. Yeah. All right. Well,
That just reminded me of the song. I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
you know, it's funny. I only know that song through you.
Really?
Yeah. I know the song,
That song
but
is
through
so
you.
great.
Joe, yes.
Yes.
Somehow, someone who knows, yeah.
Yes, it's a great song. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I want to cover it someday.
Oh,
I
that's
think that'd be
fun.
good. That'd be fun.
The
You
whole
had that in your
semester.
head the whole semester.
And no one else knows. That's so great. Oh, fun.
Uh, yes. Well, hey, I got you. I know that song. I mean, I don't know all of it,
Mm.
but I know that it exists, and I know that part.
Yeah. Fair.
And I know it says, "I got your picture. I got your picture." And then I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. That's all I know.
Beautiful.
Yes,
That's a piece of art right there.
it is.
Oh, you've taken 101 and wait. I took Japanese 101 this semester and you're taking 102. That's awesome. Well, oh, there you go. In spring, there we go. I'm sorry, I missed the bottom part. I was like, I'm sure there's an end to that sentence, but I got cut off. No, it's literally right there. Okay. Sorry about that. Maybe I'm the one who's ill. Yeah, no, that's
You're
really
good.
fantastic. I'm excited for you and interested in how it's going. I never took I took a language class that was Spanish and did not do very well. But then I did Japanese on my own and I learned a lot really fast. And I was like, how come I can learn Japanese, but I can't learn Spanish? That is bizarre. But I think
It
it
is kind
mattered.
of weird.
I think it was because I was a lot more interested and ready to take information in and gave it an honest shot compared to Spanish, which I was kind of just in class for, not really caring to participate, and etc. So,
Right. It's amazing what you can learn when you want to. You know, if we think of learning as a chore or some kind of thing like that, then we don't really pick up much and we don't do all that well. But when you have a reason and you really want to be there and learn what you're learning, then it's amazing how good you can do.
And yeah, Perry, that's absolutely true. So I mean, when it comes to people with ADHD, we learn when we care. That's right. That's right. I think that's true, Pear. Yeah. Yeah, that was my life. But yeah, what said? How did you practice? Yeah, well, I didn't practice Spanish, but for Japanese, I listened to audio tapes and I participated by speaking back to the audio tape. So like they would ask a question in Japanese and I would respond in Japanese, and I learned from doing that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you got to find a reason to care if you got to learn. Yep, that's right. Right, Pear. You're awesome. All right, well, we got some topics here. Do you want to start one up? I didn't do a disclaimer yet.
Sure.
But... Okay.
Oh, you better do that.
Yeah. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we talk about issues, problems, things going on in your life that maybe you're worried about. But honestly, we can take any kind of topic. If you want to give us a topic, please put one in the chat for us, or you can go to don'tworrywednesday.com and you can submit a topic there. Nice and easy. The big button is big and it's sole, and it's not like covered by a bunch of other boxes. It's just right there for you. Go ahead and click it and you can submit a topic. You can choose to be anonymous or give us any name you want. But we are not, it should be said that we are not professional psychologists, psychiatrists, or anything along those lines, but we can give you our best from our own experiences in life and be a friend that can walk with you this short distance in your path to life. And that's what we hope to do. So, with that said, welcome. We can begin.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Wait. Yeah, thank you, Joe. Thanks for doing that. Yes, get some rest, Pear. Have a great night. Wow.
It's nice to see you.
And
come back. Come back when you're better. Or before you're better, if it takes you a while to get better.
Yeah.
It's just good to see you.
Go back whenever you want. Happy to have you. All right. So, we've got 2 topics here. We've only got 2 topics, so that means we are likely in need of topics. If we don't have another topic by next week, well, we won't have any topics. So feel free to, again,
we'll come up with something to say, though.
Oh yeah, we'll talk. I mean, we can
Promise.
do that, clearly. Even if it's just with you guys, which actually is not a bad time. I mean, it's nice to talk. But we've got 2 of them, and they are perhaps related, so that's kind of convenient. This first one is titled "Art is Dead to Me." Sorry, no, it's submitted by Art is Dead to Me, and the title is "Art and Depth." So, I'm going to go ahead and put this topic on the screen for you guys so you can read along. And realized I didn't test that out, but we're gonna find out. It should probably work. Perfect. It works just fine. All right, so here it is on the screen, guys. Feel free to read along if you so wish. It reads as follows. When I try to capture feelings, experiences, insights, or meaningful messages via art, the result seems to trivialize the depth of the experience. This makes me cringe and delete it because the result feels insufficient in capturing my intentions with the piece. Advice on either how to get better at capturing my intentions better, or how to get over feeling so disconnected to the outcome. From Art is Dead to Me.
Art is dead.
Sorry, wrong button. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Art is Dead to Me. And we really appreciate that you would submit this. This is an interesting one. I'm interested to see if my wife would like to add anything here. She is an artist who I know she has her own insights on this, but I'm not sure that with us. So anyways, I'm going to...
Do you know where your wife is?
Anyways, I do know where my wife is. I just don't think that she's actually on Don't Worry Wednesday fully, because she's got other things going on.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. So anyways, if she shows up and she wants me to reread the topic, I don't mind doing that. What I'm not paying attention. Yeah. So it's fine. No, I can rewind. That's smart. I didn't even think about that. So
you can.
Yeah, you can. That's pretty cool. But anyhow,
you're so smart, Neonsci.
I suppose in a way we're all artists here. Joe is an artist as well. He might not necessarily be one of the visual kind, though he is one of the carpentry kind right now. And he is also one of the music of art. And I bet you there's a bunch of other arts he's participated in as well. So I am interested in seeing what Joe has to say, and I look forward to it. And I hope it's helpful for you to meet either getting better at getting your intentions across, or feeling disconnected from the outcome, or rather more satisfied with the outcome, regardless of whether you're able to capture the intention. I hope one of those 2 things can come out of this. So thank you again for the topic. We really appreciate it, and I'm excited to see what's to come of this. This is a very different topic than we've received in any time recent, or even in the past that I can remember. So it's kind of a fun one to do. So I like that. So yeah, Joe, it's all yours, and I'm interested in what your response is going to be.
You know, it's interesting that this topic came at this time. Neonsci says, I don't know what else to suggest other than to just keep trying and maybe find references, but it's hard. Yeah, it can be hard. I want to, the approach I'm going to take with this topic might seem strange, because, I'm a musician, and Ryan, you know me well, and I've taken great care as a musician to formulate songs so they'll be well received, at least trying. Like, that's kind of always in the forefront of my mind to, you know, when I create music, I'm like, okay, these are the parameters I have for this song. It's got to be a certain amount of time long. It's got to follow this formula. And we're going to do this because, as in the business of music, like I want it to be sellable. I want it to, be received by the public in a good way and do all that. And,
Mm-hmm.
I want it because I've always wanted to make a career out of music. And so, I look at the formulas, I look at the ways, stuff is put together. I look at trying to make things really catchy and hooky. And, like there's just a lot of thought that goes into the creation of this art. And what I'm discovering the longer I live is that, when it becomes more of a science, you start to lose a little bit of the art in there. You start to lose a little bit of the expression and some of the depth of, how you're expressing yourself in your performance. And so it's really interesting because you started this topic by saying, when I try to capture feelings, experiences, insights, or meaningful messages via art, the results seem to trivialize the depth of the experience. But my question, and I don't know if you're in the chat, you happen to be listening and you feel like exposing who you are, feel free to respond. If not, you can just listen. But I'm gonna ask you to ask yourself a few questions. And one is, who, like, do you have an audience in mind for this art? Are you doing it for them, or are you doing it to process your emotions, to get those out, to do some of that type of stuff, right? Because I've learned that in my thinking through music, while it can be valuable to think through and say, okay, I'm going to create these songs, I'm going to do this in a way that, makes it poised in order to be well received by as large of an audience as possible. And in that thinking, my expression, I feel, can suffer at times. And my performance, the expressiveness of my performance can suffer at times because I'm no longer thinking about the expression of the emotion. I'm thinking of the science and and all that kind of stuff. And so that's one of the things when we learn music in school, or we learn art in school, a lot of times we're taught a lot of theory, we're taught a lot of technique, we're taught a lot of these things, and those can be great things to know in support of your expressive nature in this art form. I majored in percussion in college, and I learned a lot of technique, and I learned a lot of, and I practiced a lot of this technique. And all what that did, when I look at it in the long run, was it basically supported my ability to express through percussion or through music,
Hmm.
right? Knowing that stuff, it helped me to trust myself and my body and my hands and arms and everything to be able to work freely in the expression of the art, because I got so good at the technique that I didn't have to think about it anymore. I could just flow, and I could trust that my body would know what to do, right? So, but then you have to circle back around to the point of getting to that expression and not thinking through all the technique and all the science side of the art. Here's the thing. Um, I'm going through a program called Work with Shadow because I'm digging into a whole lot of old wounds and trying to figure out psychologically how I can, grow as a person and kind of get rid of some of my hangups, my old hangups, and actually just live a better life, really. And I'm in this process. I'm in the what's the word? The section I'm in right now is processing grief. And one of the things they said was, like, you can do art, you can write letters, you can do dance, you can do these physical things while feeling these emotions to just it doesn't you don't even have to think about like who's going to see it, who's going to receive it. You're doing it purely to express the emotions you're feeling so you can feel the emotions and get them out of you. And it sounds to me like that's what you're doing with art. You try and capture those feelings and those experiences. And if that's what you're doing, then it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that whether or not your art purely shows these emotions, because really it's an exercise in you letting it out, getting these emotions out and expressing them in a way that can help you heal or whatever, right? So, as I'm doing this processing of grief, I'm thinking through things that I needed to grieve, things that I needed to let, and I actually did a modern interpretive dance in the expression of this grief. And nobody's ever gonna see it. The
Not
only
even.
rea And it didn't matter that nobody would know or nobody would see it, because the whole reason for it existing was for me to express emotion and to, try and heal and to try and grieve in a way that can help me to let go of these emotions and to help me to process this stuff, right? And it was really healing. It was quite helpful. It helped me to do things and express things that there were no words for, and so I could just get these things out. And that's a great way I found to look at art, to look at music. And I started to realize I've been so consumed by the science of music that I'm forgetting how expressive I can be in music. I'm forgetting how my performance doesn't have to follow these rules. It doesn't have to be well received by anyone, because the point is to use that art as an expression of emotion. Now, the better we get at whatever medium it is, whether it's art, dance, music, anything, any art form, is to bring the watchers, the seers, the listeners, whoever it is, to help bring them into that emotional experience and to feel that with you. And the better you get at it, the better you're going to be able to communicate that, right? And so Nyansai really hit the nail on the head when she said, I don't know what else to suggest other than to just keep trying. Because when you keep trying, you keep growing and you keep getting better and you keep learning more and you keep, being able to express in ways that can bring an audience into the experience with you. Because that's the real, like, when you listen to, I'm going to keep going back to music because I'm a musician, right? I listen to songs and I'll listen to a performance that just totally wraps me up into that, into whatever they're singing about, or even if it's instrumental, you can just feel the emotion. There's art that I can look at where I can just feel the emotion of the expression that the artist was conveying. and it gives me an emotional experience as the observer. And so really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you might think, "Oh, well, this doesn't properly express the emotion." Because if you let yourself go and you do it and you create the art, you did. And however it's received is how it's received. We don't get to determine what the audience feels or thinks. We don't get to do that. And so the last part of your topic says advice on either how to get better at capturing my intentions better or how to get over feeling so disconnected to the outcome. I would say you want to try harder to be more disconnected to the outcome. Rather than trying to find ways to connect yourself to the outcome even more firmly, I would say it might be better to learn how to disconnect more from the outcome and don't worry about the outcome so much. I mean, if you're trying to sell it, if you're trying to get good at art for a purpose, to have a career in some form of art, then naturally you're going to feel some kind of a connection to the outcome. You're going to want it to do well. You're going to want it to, you know, connect with an audience. But my suggestion is don't worry so much about the outcome. And maybe that's just me speaking from my own personal experience because I've been so connected to the outcome and so concerned about the outcome of, making music or art or whatever. I've been so wrapped up in that outcome that I need to learn how to disconnect myself from that and to detach and to just let this stuff flow out of me. And however it gets received, it gets received. If people like it, great. If they don't like it, great. But the making of the music did its job if I was able to convey some kind of emotion. It worked as a tool for me to express that. And I've told this story before here. It was a long time ago, last time I told it. But one of the best guitar solos I ever played was in the midst of some just crazy emotional stuff. We were losing our house. Everything was falling apart. I could feel my family falling apart. And I was just a wreck. And in this moment, I was playing guitar. I was working on the first project I ever worked on with Ryan, and I played this guitar solo. And as I go back and I listen to I'm not a lead guitarist by any stretch of the imagination. When I play guitar, it's rhythm guitar, which makes sense. I'm a percussionist, right? So like rhythm guitar totally makes sense for me to gravitate toward. But in this moment, I knew I needed to put a guitar solo in this spot. And I hit some wrong notes in there, but it didn't matter. Because what happened was I poured my heart into the instrument and created something that I found later as I listened to all the different, solos I've played and different things that I've played. It captured a moment of pure emotion in me and it shined. It shined through and it stuck out to me. Maybe it stuck out to me because it was such a moving emotional experience for me. But so often I try and get back to that. I try and get back to not worrying so much about the outcome, to detaching from the science and just letting myself flow through it. And if that's what you're doing, I would say keep doing that. And like Neonsai said, keep trying, keep working at it because through that practice, you're going to get better and better. You're going to improve. It's just natural. And yeah, I hope my message is coming across. I hope I'm communicating this well, because I think the premise of your question is the thing I want to attack. And not really attack, but I want to just bring your attention to. And that maybe, just like me, you're thinking so much about the outcome. You're thinking so much about the end result and the quality of the end result that you're l- you're you're forgetting the point, which is to express yourself, to express this emotion, to let your art form be a conduit for your emotional expression that maybe there are no words to express. And it can be a really cleansing and healing experience. And so I guess my advice is not to worry so much about that. Don't worry so much about your own opinion of it once it's done. Because once it's done, it's done. It served its purpose. And then when you share it with the world will do what it does with it. The people that are moved by it will be moved by it. The people that aren't won't. And that's okay. But the more you stay connected to pouring out your emotion into it, into your art form, I think the chances are better that people will be able to connect with it and they'll feel that emotion in it. So, I don't know. I guess take that for what it's worth, but I don't know. I wish you the best, and I really hope that you can remember that it's not necessarily about the outcome. It's about you and your expression and your getting your emotion out onto your art, through your art. So, that's pretty much what I have. So, I'm going to, ask Ryan to take over and, you know, hopefully there's some more concrete stuff that Ryan can can share.
Give him the best.
But anyway, thank you for the topic, and, hopefully some of that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the best advice I can give you on this.
Mhm.
So there
Yeah,
you go.
Joe, I like that a lot. That was pretty good. I felt like that covered a lot. I have some things probably, well, they're very similar things, but a little bit different direction, maybe a little bit different way of speaking about things, but kind of the same reasoning. Um, so I remember thinking about this as a musician, um, and one of the things that I realized early on is, well, a couple of things. One, I'm not one to have an incredible deep emotional experience which I'm trying to put out into my music. I'm not one to usually express my feelings through music. Um, it
Mm,
doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just not my avenue um, of I don't know, the performance, if you will. It's not just a performance, but it is like you're creating something, and it's not through the emotional experience or whatever. Might not be the avenue through which I create. So
mm,
keep that in mind as I speak. It makes me take a step back though, because that's the case, but I still want my listeners to experience the depth of a message I might want to send them or an emotion I might want
mhm,
them to have. Even though I'm not having that emotion myself, I want to evoke in them something. I want to get something across and I want it to be impactful and meaningful. And I want my
mhm,
music to be useful to somebody. Like,
mhm,
not just something they listen to and it's like, you know, like a short video or something on YouTube where you forget instantly. But like something useful, like a tool in their tool belt. And so when I craft my music, if you will, a lot of times what I do is I'll just come up with the best I can, something that sounds good, but kind of touches on the expression or the emotion or the depth that I want, and then listen back to it and see, am I experiencing at least a little bit of that feeling? And so here's something that I've considered at great depths. What makes a song sound mysterious? Is there actually mystery in the song when you just happen to play trombone? Or does the trombone, for some reason, arise in us a sense of mystery?
Hmm.
Maybe it's that bass line. Da-dun, da-dun. Wait a minute, where'd I get that? Why does that sound
From the Pink
mysterious?
Panther.
Pink Panther, that's right. Pink Panther is a
Dun-dun,
little bit
dun-dun.
mystery. You know, it's got that feeling. Exactly. That's why is it that when I want to play something that sounds like just has this epic feeling, it sounds like a French horn. The French horn doesn't have to be the lead, it just has to be in the song, and suddenly, wow, that feels like an adventure. It's like, oh, well, okay, thanks, John Williams or whoever did Star Wars. And I'm like, why is the violin the instrument of so much emotion? Like like the violin just play something slow and somber. What is somber? Why does that sound somber to us? Where do I get the idea that these vibrations, these frequencies that are bouncing off one atom to another into my ear eventually, has a sense of sadness, has a sense of joy to it, has adventure, glee? You know, where do these come from? These are just vibrations. Why do I pick up on these sensations? And a lot of it is to do with what I've been trained to think these are, what I've been trained to associate these sounds with. You know,
Mhm.
I can play a song that's made with 30, or sorry, like 8-bit instruments, and it will sound like an Atari, and it will bring back a little bit of those vibes. But my mom,
Mhm.
who really didn't care for video games, you know, I'll play that for her. She won't feel a thing. She won't
Mm.
have those experiences, right? And so
Mhm.
when I ask the question, how do I get my audience to feel what I'm trying to help them feel so that this can be useful for them? I have to ask myself these questions like, what is the sound of sadness? Where does that come from? What is that experience? What have people been trained to think sadness sounds like? Why do we
Mm.
think slow violin in a minor scale is sadness? It could have been something else. It could have been fast-paced didgeridoo, and that's the sound of sadness. But we don't associate those things together. Sadness and fast-paced. Um, so that's what I think of on a more of a science scale, you could say. When I take this music and I think, um, you know, aside from an artistic point of view, how do I make it this way? And I take from my experiences. And a lot of times I take from my own experiences rather than necessarily digging into the experiences of others around me, but occasionally I will take into those experiences, right? But for me, you know, a violin playing something slow does sound a bit sad, and it does for most of the world. But I also recognize me playing with 8-bit instruments doesn't really make anybody else feel who didn't grow up in the era I grew up in feel anything special.
Mm.
But it
Mhm.
sounds special to me. It hits a certain kind of feeling. Um, and you know, there's these songs out there that are like cute, but it's really weird if you've ever listened to one of these. They've got these anime, like these anime sounds, but they're like actually just like Japanese voice lines going, "Hey, yo," and things like that, and click, things just like random lines in the middle of the song have no place being there. They're just there. They're in the song. And some people like, oh, that really brings out the song to them. And then others are just like, that is super weird. Why did they do that? That's not enjoyable at all. What is that supposed to be? And you're like, oh, that's supposed to be cute. It's supposed to make you feel like cute. And you're like, no, that is not cute. That is just weird. I feel weird. I didn't like that. That didn't feel cute. That is not what cute is. Which actually makes me think. I remember as a kid, I'd be like, oh, that's cute. And people would be like, no, that's cute. And I'm like, I think our definitions of cute are different. And everyone's definition of cute is. It is. Some people think ladybugs are cute. Some people think all bugs are disgusting. Some people say cute about anything that happens to be small. And I'm like, that is not the definition of cute. I feel like cute is more of like a personality. And yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so what my point of this is, and I mean, I've driven it home by now. My point is, it's not just that people experience things differently. It's even further than that. It's that our understanding of the depth of the thing you're trying to express in the first place is an example of something. It can never fully reach the depth of what you're trying to express because it is only an simile. It is only a short experience in the vast experiences of your life. When you try to make something sad, you're pulling from something to get that out into art. But you're only showing a reflection of it. You're not able to show the true experience of that thing to somebody. All you're able to do is show a reflection or an image, right, of a moment of that experience that tries to capture something. And it would make sense for you to have experienced art pieces that bring you to your knees from other people. But when you look at your own art, that can never have happened. And that's not because your art is necessarily insufficient. It's because you aren't going to be able to look at your own piece and have a depth of realization because you haven't put your experiences together in that way before. Because when you're drawing the piece, you're already doing that and you've already had your realization. And so your realization is what you're painting. Your realization is what your art is. You're expressing your realization. It would be very rare for you to see that afterwards and have another realization afterward, right? And to stumble upon some kind of truth that you accidentally put into your art piece. In general, you paint with care to put everything specifically that you want into it and nothing more. So my point here is you have to contest with reality. And that is, you're the one designing your piece. It's unlikely, very, very unlikely, that you're going to experience the depth you experience out of it. Because the depth is so much deeper than an art piece can provide. And you're not going to have that depth of realization from the art piece because you're pulling from within and you're putting it out there. You aren't putting anything new you haven't seen before out there because you probably can't unless you're just scribbling and you accidentally draw a picture that means something to you somehow. Which can happen, but that's out of like random chance, right? And I wouldn't rely on that method to whatever. And so you can, like Joe said, pour your emotions out into your art and let that be what it is. And someone else might come along and look at that and have that depth of realization, that moment, that epiphany, looking at your piece that you drew, have that epiphanical moment that brings them to their knees and makes them go, wow. There's so much beauty there. There's so much depth. This person I can relate to them on such an incredible level, and I can just stare at this piece and take it in, and it can be life changing, which is an incredible thing. I wish I knew von Balthazar. Von Balthazar. I would do a little bit of research on him. He talks about what beauty, and beauty. You know, a lot of people say beauty is in the eye of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Wow, I can't. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I think what he does is he takes it way beyond that, and says, no, beauty is objective. True beauty is something that captures somebody, and it doesn't just capture them, it then compels them forward in life on a new trajectory with something new, something they want to share, something that they want to express, something that they're going to be doing differently in their life because your art piece, that's objectively art, because it has utility, but it's not just utility, it's life-changing in a good way, right? And that's a beautiful thing. So you could look up von Balthazar. I forget his first name. Something von Balthazar, but that's okay. You can get there with just Balthazar.
It's
sure.
Bill.
Bill von Balthazar? I don't think so. No, it's not. And
Okay,
that would be
it's worth a shot.
William von Balthazar. That might be it.
Bob
van Balthazar. Okay, anyways.
Sorry.
These are becoming tongue twisters. So,
Tim. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are some of the things I want to express, because if you're trying to do something that's not possible, I want to help you so that you can do better than trying to do something impossible. But I also want to say this. One final point I want to make is, trying to recall what it was. Hold on. Hold on. Let me reread what you have written here, and it'll come to me, I'm sure. When I try to have... It didn't come to me. That's okay. I do have one final thing that was pretty important that I wanted to say, but right now it's not coming to me, which is unfortunate. But either way, I think if you want to express something that has incredible depth, that's what it was. It was about the depth. You know, when we look, like, I don't know if you're religious at all, and you're not, but when you try to understand God is infinitely more vast than we can even conceive. He's outside of space and time. I mean, we can't even understand that very well. And not only that, he has some kind of personality, but we're only fragments of that kind of concept, and etc. And so there's a word, and it's called ineffable. You know, something can be so deep that it becomes ineffable. Ineffable means no amount of words could ever even come close to getting at it. And that happens in music, that happens in speech, that happens in art, in visual arts, and every kind. Art is generally the expression of something deeper. Language itself is an expression of something deeper. And we're trying to communicate what that depth is, and a lot of times we run into a wall. Not just because But like sometimes because we can't figure out how to say it and communicate it so that someone else will understand, because there's so much, what's the word? There's so much, like of a foundation that they don't have to understand the concept in general to begin with, and you have to explain the whole foundation and then explain it to them, and that takes a lot of time, and sometimes it's just not even possible because they're on a totally different foundation that contrasts with yours, and yours impossible for them to jump to. So sometimes things become impossible, and I love that you want to reach the depths. And I encourage you to continue trying. And the thing I wanted to say, I remember fully now, is this. There's something in music that we refer to, and I've never heard it referred to in art, in visual arts. And maybe this phrase will help you. And it's a phrase that we don't necessarily refer to in music. We just use music as the example, so musicians know of it. And that is the definition of freedom. Now, what is the definition of freedom? A lot of people think of freedom as a word that means choice, if you will. Like, if you have freedom, that means you are the one that gets to decide the choices. You get to make decisions and so on and so forth. You have freedom, freedom of expression, freedom of picking what you want on your menu, right? You get to pick it. Now, that is a form of freedom, but it's not the fullness of freedom, because freedom requires that you're actually good enough and wise enough, smart enough to utilize it, to utilize your tools, your choices. An example, this is always the common example. Someone who cannot play the violin is not free to play anything on the violin, right? Someone who can't pick up a violin and someone who's like not trained on the violin, or even if they're just a beginner level, or even they've been practicing for like 10 years and they're like almost a master but not quite, they're not fully free, because they're not free to just do whatever they want. They're not free to fully express themselves in the way that they want. They're not free to just play with all of the dynamics and nuance and effects and everything that they know exist but they can't do, or they believe is something they want to express or capture or try. They just can't do it. They're not free to do it. And the same thing is true for art. You're not free enough to capture the depth of the experience, because what you're trying to do, one, is beyond perfection, because even those who are masters can't guarantee that that their piece won't trivialize the depth of, right? But even beyond that, someone who is a master of the art is a lot more capable doing that on purpose, right? We have to admit that truth. We have to admit that if I get better at my instrument, I'll be more free to, if I want to express sadness, I'll be able to do that. If I want to express joy, I'll be able to do that. But if I stay at beginner level, I'm never going to be able to do that. I'll want to, but I won't be able to do it. And so my point is, don't give up on art just because right now you can't see what you want to see out of it. You have to become a master of art to fully have control over the piece, so that you can express the depths of the experience without trivializing it in your own mind. Because I can almost guarantee that there comes a point as you reach being a master where to you, it isn't trivialized. You can see that it's there and you feel it and you're like, this is actually pretty darn good. You might not get a rush of emotion by looking at it, but you'll recognize, as a master, you'll recognize and look at it and be like, yeah, it's there. There are absolutely stunning pieces of art out there, stained glass windows and everything. And people who have mastered the trades that they're in know when they've created something that has depth and doesn't trivialize what they want to express. And when they look at it, they might not come down and drop to their knees and be like, oh, this is it. But they will look at it as a master. People will drop to their knees for this. And they'll put it out there, and people do. And so what I'm trying to say is, embrace the fact that right now, your art might trivialize the depth of the experience in your own eye. Someday, you'll be able to see it and capture it and make it happen. If you keep at it. If you really keep at it. And that's the truth. I know that firsthand. I also know that secondhand. That is the truth. You keep at it. Keep trying. Like, focus on getting really good. Don't focus too much on how lacking your stuff is. Your notice of lacking means you notice that there's room to grow. And if you didn't notice that, well, you wouldn't know, like, if you didn't know how bad you were, you wouldn't be growing. So what you're experiencing right now is growing pains. And that's good. So keep at it. It means that you can see it. It means you can see something. It means you can see there's a better future. It means you can see that there's more. And you trying to reach perfection, you trying to do that is good. It's healthy at this point. Perfection doesn't exist. Perfection is just what you can see, right? And you'll always see something that's a little better than what you are. And so when you try to reach for perfection, and this is what my wife said, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty right. When you try to reach for perfection, what you're trying to reach for is something a little better than you can do yet. And you're trying to do a little better than what you're capable of. And in a way, there's nothing wrong with that. But also, if it's your job or you're trying to get it out there for other people to see, perfection is not what you're looking for. Because perfection will stop you from delivering anything to anybody that will ever be of any use. I mean, a vacuum.
So true.
Yeah. A vacuum cleaner with, with 2/3 of the power that you knew it could put out is still a better vacuum cleaner than no vacuum cleaner at all, right? And that's just the way things are. You might not be able to get to perfection, but there are times when you just have to look at your piece and say, that's done. I'm ready to move on to the next. And every time you do, you're going to be getting a little better and a little better and a little better, because every time you're doing art, you're encountering something that you can say, I could do this better. How do I make this look more like I want it to? And then you make that adjustment. And if it's only one adjustment per art piece, you'll be cruising. But if you make that one adjustment and then you forget about it or you trivialize it because you're trying to make all these other adjustments, your ability to get better is going to be very slow. It's like if you're trying to learn a language, don't try to learn all 200 words at once. Learn each word one word at a time, and it will stick with you, right? You got to use those words. You got to keep using those words to keep them. So, what I wanted to say is I encourage you to keep trying. If art is something that's beautiful to you and meaningful to you, and you really want to be a good artist, you do have to look at it from both a scientific and art perspective. You do have to be willing to let go of it, as Joe said, and let it just be what it is. You do have to try to improve one step at a time with focus to improve. And someday you'll be so good that you can see when something you can see immediately with true knowledge, true knowledge of experience, true knowledge of just understanding the art, that something has depth, has feeling, it has meaning, it has what it needs to be a tool for others to feel that same thing and move and use it, or even just yourself. But for now, it seems like you're running into that wall where you're like, I can't do better than this. That's a good wall to hit. That's a really good wall to hit. Keep climbing that wall, one brick at a time. It might take a long time, but like I had been a musician for, well, I mean, I've been writing music in a way, technically speaking, since I was 8. But Detective, a pretty darn good piece. And it's what took Statty P. It's what my first song on Statty P, and it really solid one. And that one, I mean, I don't even know how many years I worked on being a musician. I mean, before I put that out there, I'm not trying to say like expect it to take forever. Because here's the thing. I used to dilly-dally. I used to just kind of play music for the fun of it. And I wanted to get good, but only at like some things. I want to be able to play fast, right? And so I got good at that. How did I do that? I tried playing fast for like hours on end on the piano. And I eventually was able to do it. And with pretty good precision, But that was just practice. And practice doing the thing I wanted to be better at. And that's the way your art's going to be. But until you're a master, you can't be free enough to express exactly what you want to experience out of your own art. So you just got to keep trying. And when I put my mind to it, I actually learn pretty quickly. If I take it slow, music, art, whatever, there's such a robust field. It's so vast, and trying to get good at all of it at once is basically impossible. But you can get good at a field. And that's sometimes all you need to do. You need to focus and you say, this one thing is what I want to express. What is that? Figure that out. What makes it that feeling? What in other people's art makes you feel that feeling? Take understanding and inspiration from that and focus down on that and try to capture just that one thing. That's what I had to do many times to get good at almost anything, especially in certain genres of music that I haven't done before or whatever, right? Suddenly you're like, okay, this is a flip. I haven't written this way before. This is different. And you kind of just have to sit there with one piece in front of you that you listen to over and over and over and over and over, or a genre of music that you listen to over and over and over, and try to understand what is it that makes it feel. What is it that makes me feel like bopping my head? That's what I want other people to do. I want them to bop their head to my song. So what is it about this piece that makes me bop my head? It's not just the tempo. It's something else, right? And then you dig into it and you try to replicate that, and you sort of sometimes just have to recreate the piece from scratch in your own way. And then you're just like, okay, so I learned from that experience, and I still, don't have it down yet, but I'm learning, and you have to do those things before you get to a point where you're like, I want people to bop their head at this. So I'm going to write the song like this, and people will be bopping their head. It's easy. Just do this. And you get it. And people are bopping their heads, and you're like, see how easy that was? Guys, don't you know how easy it is to make people dance? Like, literally all you need to do is this, this, and this. But as an artist, it's the same thing. You're going to be at some point like, guys, don't you know how to make people feel sad? Like literally just that's sadness. Watch. Hey, how does this make you feel? It makes me feel sad. Yeah. Boom. I told you, bro. It's easy. You want people to feel happy? Check this out. I drew that. You know? It's obvious. It's easy. It makes sense. Right? So I'm just encouraging you. Pick something. Intend to grow in it, which means you have to study it. You have to participate in that study. Don't just look, try. Really capture it. What is it? And then if you don't nail it, and you're like, I don't feel this way. I see this one and I see mine, I don't feel the same. Well, you didn't nail it, and that's okay. Keep trying. Figure out what it is. And as you do that, over time, your brain will naturally pick up on these patterns. And at some point, your brain will be a master of these patterns and just be able to throw stuff out. And it will be exactly as every time. Well, not every time, but most of the times. Sometimes you have to fine tune and play around and so on and so forth, but you get it. Yeah. So that's what I've got. I hope that's helpful. I hope it's inspiring. And I want you to look down at yourself, because the fact that you know that there's something more than what you're achieving means you've already got what you need to move forward. You just need to focus down, study, and take it slowly, but with intention, and spend less time trying to make a masterpiece right now. Spend more time trying to get the foundation of what a masterpiece is. And then you'll be able to, at some point, probably not too long, capture those feelings you're trying to capture and the way you want to capture them, right? But always remember that depth is an experience of each person's own heart. And so, like Joe said, don't get caught up in that. Don't get too caught up in that. If you know what an emotion is, and you can paint it, and you look at it and be like, that's that emotion, then you've done it. It might never make you feel, like I said, it might never bring you to your knees. It might never make you feel the depth, because literally you're the one that painted it. You know every part of it. You don't have to explore it. Other people's arts, you explore, and that's why you feel depth. So just know that what you're doing with your art is you're inviting others to explore and experience. But you likely won't often. You can on rare occasion, and I've done it myself, but you often won't experience the depth that really is the experience that you're trying to, right? Because the depth of that experience, like you're taking a full experience and then you're nailing it down to a visual, and then you're nailing that down to just 2 dimensions. And it's like, and then you're nailing that down to just like a set of colors, and and then you're like simplifying it so that it's more meaningful, because the nuances in the background, though they add story, they become a distraction from the message. And then, that's just the way it is. And that's okay. Part of being able to express things, learning how to dumb it down, take away a lot of stuff. Because man,
True.
I've seen arts that you're like, I don't have no idea what's going on here, because there's so many stinking things. It's beautiful, but the part of being a good writer is being able to write things at like a 3rd grade level, so that even 3rd graders can understand it at exactly what you mean. Not trying to speak over their heads, not using fanciful words, but just speaking in a way that people get it and understand it and feel it, and like experience it in the way that you wrote it. But just, wow, that's depthy, even though the language used was like my kid could read that, right? So that's part of it too. So there's all these things. There's all these things on your journey. And I want to encourage you, if art is something you love, continue that journey. Don't give up just because you're not satisfied yet. In some way, you'll never be completely satisfied. Art isn't made to satisfy you. That's not the purpose of art, right? Art isn't made to satisfy, because art can never satisfy. Art encourages you to explore something, experience something, right? But those things aren't satisfaction. They're temporary joys or realizations, pleasures, experiences, but they will never fully satisfy, right? That's that's good because you don't want it to. You want your art to cause someone to go out into the world. You don't want your art to satisfy someone and become content and be like, this was what I needed. I'm done. I'm done with life. I've succeeded, right? I'm fully satisfied. And here we are. Shut it down. Shut it down, guys. You know, you don't want that.
Yep.
Your art should
Better shut that down right now.
Art shouldn't satisfy or deter people from life. It should encourage. It should cause people to really be pulled out into the world around them, pulled into your piece, and then sent out, as Balthazar says. Which, I mean, more to it than that. But I would encourage you to look at him and see what he had to say about beauty. He's done an incredible study, and his work is like standing on the shoulders of giants in terms of how you should think about the activities, what you're bringing to the world, because it's so good. So good. So anyhow, I know that took a really long time to say. Probably talked for like 8 hours there. But anyhow, I'm done.
At least.
Joe, do you have anything you want to add on to this? At least, yes.
Took longer than we ever thought possible.
Yes, it did. It sure did. Just like art.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
There's one thing I want to say, and it is responding to the second part, the middle part of your topic, where it says, this makes me cringe, and delete it because the result feels insufficient in capturing my intentions with the piece. I want to encourage you, even though, yes, you're tempted to delete it, even though, yes, I mean, I write a song, I record it, and then I'll be like, no, it's not good, blah, 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 whatever. I want to encourage you to not delete it. If you don't want to look at it anymore, just archive it or something. Put it away, put it in a folder where it's just like, done stuff that I don't care about or whatever. Because here's why. Even though the temptation is very strong to be like, nope, this is terrible. I'm going to delete it, get rid of it. I don't want to think about it anymore. I don't want to look at it anymore. That's fine. Don't look at it anymore, but don't delete it. Not because you want to pull it out again to sell it, or you want to pull it out again to show somebody or whatever. It might just never, the public may never experience this, and that's totally fine. The reason is because you will mark your own improvement with each one of these little steps. You draw something, you create something, you make something, whatever. Keep it, if only for a progress report. Because how else do you know that you're growing? Because here's the thing, and I learned this principle through like when I was doing exercise programs, because they're like, take a picture of yourself every week. And it's like, I don't want to look at myself, whatever. The reason is for progress. Because when you can create something and then look at it next to something you created years ago, you can see how much better you've become. You can see how much better, even at certain little elements. Maybe you're still not satisfied, but like Ryan said, maybe you never want to be satisfied because once we're satisfied, we feel like we can be done, right? I just made the perfect song. I never have to make another song again.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
No, the point is, I will go back and I'll listen to old CDs that I recorded years and years and years ago with bands that I was in different studio, like environments, all kinds of stuff. And I won't, and they make me cringe still. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I listen to them and I'm
Me
like,
too.
man, there were some good elements there. I see what I was trying to do. But man, I've come a long way. And it can be a source of encouragement and inspiration for you to know that, hey, you know what? My work is paying off. My efforts are paying off because you will inevitably improve the longer you go. And I'm not saying go back and look at all your stuff every week. I'm not saying whatever, or every 2 weeks even. Just, keep it there. And once in a while, especially if you are feeling burned out or you're feeling uninspired and whatever. That's a great time to go back and look through the stuff that you've done. You can be like, "Okay, man, maybe I'm not happy with this right now, the one I'm working on right now, but boy, I can see how I've improved." And so I would just encourage you, even though, yeah, the temptation's high, don't delete it. Keep it. Put it away. Put it in a hard drive that you don't access hardly ever, but just keep it around. So then you can look back and you can mark your own improvement. And that's all I have.
Beautiful. I was trying to catch up on all the topics while you're speaking. I was able to listen to you and read them at the same time. A lot of good stuff in chat. So I would
Yes.
encourage reading that. I don't know if you're with us, if you're anonymous or whatever, but if you happen to catch us later or you happen to be here now, feel free to continue to read chat. I think that's a lot of good and useful and encouraging things. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you everybody for all of the comments to this person, and thank you to the one who posted the topic in the first place. This is a really great topic and not something that we've gotten to talk about really before. So I'm really happy that we got to do this, and I hope above all those things that you got something out of it, and that something is useful to you in your journey through art, and
Mhm.
capturing what you want to capture, having the skill you want to have, because that's what we're here for, and we hope we can encourage you and get the things that are silly thoughts out of the way so that you can just focus on being awesome and continuing that journey. Sometimes we have a lot of silly thoughts that we just have to be like, that doesn't even, how can I decide what other people feel? It's like, what am I doing thinking so much about that? Like, man,
Right.
we've all
Right.
been there. So yeah, it's just the way it is. Yeah. So I hope that was helpful, and thank you again so much. We've got another topic. This one is
We do.
also about art, so that's great.
It's
Today
art night
it's art.
at Don't Worry Wednesday.
Yeah, we do have another topic that was posted 31 minutes ago.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, but at this moment, we'll hit this topic that we have, and since this other one hasn't been marked as urgent, which is glad. So I am interested in doing that one. By the way, I read it for very briefly, and it looked interesting. So whoever posted that topic, thank you. That's pretty cool. But we'll go into this other one, at the very least. Go ahead and stop the current one. Still running. That's
Stop.
not
It.
Ooh. Stop. Is that the way they say it in German?
I don't know.
Oh. Well.
I haven't gotten that far.
Darn. 9.
I think it
Okay.
is though.
Oh, okay. Well, perfect.
I think it is.
Stop.
Stop.
Yes. Okay. So this one is from oh my gosh, where is it? Brain. Locate. Aha, found it. This one is from Never Ready. Apparently I wasn't ready. This one's from Never Ready, and it's titled Too Scared to Art. It reads as follows. If you want to read along, it's on the screen. Here it is. I'm too scared to create art, even though I really want to. I'm not entirely sure what it is about art that is so scary to me. I am not afraid of judgment because I don't plan to show it to others. I have done art about twice in the past 3 years, and whenever I do it, I feel excited and proud of myself. I do feel very emotional when I do it, like a release/relief. I'm not sure what holds me back. It doesn't really make sense to me that I'm so scared of it. I wish I had the guts to do it more. From Never Ready. Thank you so much. That's quite an interesting situation, and it's a paradoxical one. And you know what? Man, that is, I think everybody's experienced that. So you're not alone here. You're not alone in this boat. So there's definitely a lot that we can say on this. But the reasons why, specifically, might be something that you have to discover yourself. But we can share our own. We can share our own experiences. We can share our own thoughts on this, and we can share how we have gotten through it or how you might get through this. But in the end, there's a lot of digging you might have to do to really resolve this. But maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's something that others have experienced in the chat, and someone in the chat might say something that just resounds with you, and you're like, I don't have to do any digging, you know? So really, we can only see what comes out of this in the aftermath, or really only you, unless you want to share with us who you are. But otherwise, feel free to stay anonymous. We're not trying to ask people. I don't know why multiple times today we've talked about that, but we're not trying to ask you to reveal who you are. But all I'm saying is, in the end, we don't know. All we can do is hope. And with that hope, we can press forward and give you our very best for our responses for this. But it's a great topic, and one I think that a lot of us can relate to. So with that said, I'm interested to see what Joe has to say about this and what his experiences have been. Because everyone's really is different. What it is that scares them that they know holds them back. So, and why. It's an interesting field of discussions. Yeah. Yeah, I was literally talking about it like 2 days ago. So anyways, yeah, it's interesting. Take it away, Joe.
I'll take it away.
Yeah,
I don't know where I'm
away
going to take
problem. You could dump it
I'm
off
not
the
sure.
trash.
I'm not sure where I'm taking it. But yeah, Ryan said, you don't have to expose yourself. But at the same time, we encourage you, if you want to talk, it's okay. This is a safe space. You can express what you want to express here, and we're going to be just fine with that. We love you, and I really appreciate this topic. I want to preface this with our disclaimer. I'm not a professional psychologist or psychiatrist or counselor. I can only speak from, like Ryan said, I can only speak from my own experience, and I can maybe help you try to unpack this a little bit based on things that I've had to do. But yes, it's amazing how our fears can crop up in the weirdest places, and they make no sense whatsoever. Sometimes we're afraid or upset or whatever, and we think we know what it is because it's something related, but what it's pointing to is something much deeper than we may have imagined. So I don't know. I'm not going to expose everything about myself, but I will tell you this, that sometimes we have reactions. We think about a certain thing or experience a certain thing, or we see a certain thing and we have a reaction. Sometimes we call it a trigger. Now, trigger itself is a trigger word.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
What's that?
It is, isn't it? I remember people.
It is.
I remember things happening like in a video game or whatever. I'm just like totally chill, and someone just goes, "Oh man, he's so triggered," and I'm like, "Where did you get that from?" I was not even like associating like any. That came out of left field. But now because you said I was triggered, I am triggered. I'm
I'm
triggered
triggered
now.
because you said
I'm
I'm
triggered
triggered.
because you
Right,
said I'm
exactly.
like emotionally damp or something. What are you talking about, man? No, I'm
Mhm.
fine. Yeah, wow, that's kind of hilarious. Okay,
Well,
anyway,
it's
sorry.
funny because it it seems to be kind of, it's one of those words that's being overused now, and,
Mm.
people use it for everything now. "Oh, they're triggered." Whatever. But it's real. And what is a trigger? It's a reaction that may be unclear. Sometimes we think we know the cause of this trigger or this reaction that we're having, but it can go much, much deeper than we thought. I just said that. So, um, it's interesting because sometimes I don't know how much I want to say here, and I don't necessarily even know how I'm going to say it necessarily. Um, so sometimes fear is just fear because there could be a few reasons for this. Um, Sometimes when we think of something, we make a big deal out of it in our head.
Hmm.
And we think this is such an important thing. And just the very fact that we find some importance in it makes it a monster. I remember when I was in one of my first one of my first businesses, I would have to make phone calls, in order to, get the process moving in the direction I wanted to go. And it always was so scary to make a phone call.
Hmm.
Why? It's not hard to make a phone call. You open your phone, you put some numbers in it, you hit go, the green button, and then you talk to somebody. It's not difficult. Much like it sounds like art is probably not that difficult. I mean, it's not difficult for me to do art. Now, I'm not very good at it, but I can draw some stuff. I can paint some stuff. I can, do whatever. But somewhere, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And so it's not that big. It's just not that big a deal for me to grab a piece of paper and start doodling, right? I don't have any kind of massively important, um, I haven't attached anything important to it for me, right? With music, it's a little bit different. I can stop myself in my tracks if I start thinking, "I need to do this. I gotta do this, and, this is, like, so much of my future hinges on this," and I start attaching all these things in my head to the creation of a song, but it's not hard for me to create a song. I've trained forever in music, whether, starting when I was a kid on piano and then playing percussion. I've been a percussionist for, like I've been okay, I've been training in percussion, like, when I first started training, for 37 years, which is pretty amazing because 'cause I'm only 29 years old, and
Wait, whoa,
we're gonna go
whoa.
back.
Great.
But I've been doing this for a really long time, and I've practiced for a really long time, but I can stop myself by attaching some level of importance to the task.
Mm.
So I don't know, are you thinking in terms of this might be a big deal? Like, it if I create something great, it's gonna be a big deal, and so now I'm all excited, or now and then the fear kicks in, "Oh, well, what if it's not good? What if it
Yeah.
what if it doesn't get well received?" Right? And so we can do that. That's a possibility of what's going on with you. Maybe you're attaching some level of magnitude to creating art. And because of that, it makes you nervous, it makes you scared, it makes you and maybe that's it. But not necessarily. Maybe it makes you excited. And did you know that the bodily response to fear is the same as the bodily response to excitement?
For Joe, his butt tingles.
Yes, that's true.
I'll always remember that.
The tingly butt syndrome, right?
I remember. I remember. You're like, yeah. You just say it like emphatically. You know, your butt starts tingling, and I'm like, Joe, I think that's just you. I think everyone else has their own experience, but you're the butt tingle one. And
I'm the butt tingle guy.
yeah. It's funny.
Yep. Neonsai, you're absolutely right. Sometimes I can't tell if I'm mad or excited. You're right.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can't.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can't tell if I'm happy or sad. Maybe they're all the same. Here's the thing. I was just reading a book. Well, not reading. I listened to audiobooks because I it's hard for me to take time to sit down and read, but I know I need to. And so I have an Audible account and I listen to all kinds of books on Audible, right?
Yeah.
And I was listening to there's this book. It's really actually a great book. It's called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And in this book, she talks about what an emotion is, you know, and it's really chemicals in our brain and in our body. And so when we have an emotion, we're kind of suffering from a chemical imbalance,
Hmm.
right? Here's the other thing that was very interesting about this. Like the chemically, the the chemical emotional response that we have to something, if we do nothing with it, it subsides in about 90 seconds.
Wow. I believe that.
That's it. But do you know how long we will suffer because of emotions? Because then we grab onto it and we attach ourselves to it, and then we're like in it, and then we're thinking about it, and we're thinking about it more and more and more, and then we keep it going. And it's crazy because our minds, we are powerful. Human beings are so powerful because of all this. And we can make huge changes in the world, or we can make huge changes in other people's lives. We can impact people in great, important ways with this power that we have. And we don't necessarily even realize it because we're in the midst of this emotion and it's stopping us in our tracks. And we're like, whoa. And we suffer as a result. It's crazy. But here now, you're getting stopped from just simply making some art because you feel fear. Maybe you feel excitement and you're mistaking it as fear because that same reaction that's happening because you're excited is also fear. Like I go and how we respond to it makes a huge difference because I feel the same way probably anybody else feels when I go look and imagine riding a roller coaster. I love roller coasters. Love them. My son and I, man, we one of the best things I ever did was get season tickets, season passes to Cedar Point. Cedar Point, in my opinion, and my opinion is correct.
If you don't believe him, go back to school.
It Cedar Point is the greatest collection of just banger roller coasters on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just I mean, like this isn't a Cedar Point promotion, but like,
But if
okay,
you want Cedar Point, you could absolutely.
if
Uh,
if
Sponsor us.
yeah, if you like roller coasters, that's gonna be your place, man. Because like, so many theme parks have one or two rides that are like their headliners, and then every other ride is kind of just like whatever, it's there, whatever, right? Like Cedar Point has like eight. There are 18 roller coasters at Cedar Point, and about eight of them would be like the headlining roller coaster at any other theme park. And they just have this collection of them, right? And it's amazing. So I go and look at a roller coaster and I imagine riding it and I get super excited, man. And my butt tingles.
I love
Like
that.
Ryan
I
said.
love that for you, Joe. It's so great.
And I'm like, oh, and my heart gets beating a little bit faster and my muscles tense up a little bit. And I'm like, ooh. And I'm like, I need to get on that ride. I really want to ride that ride. And me and my son are like my youngest son, he's a roller coaster junkie too. We just thrill seekers, right? We get on there and we're just like, whoa, it's so great. My oldest son doesn't like it. He feels that feeling and assigns the label fear to it. Whereas my youngest son and I, we feel that feeling and we assign the label excitement to it. But the feeling's there, right? You maybe get shortness of breath. You start to like not breathe as deeply as you should, and you start to get a little bit excited, and your muscles get tense, and adrenaline goes through your body, and you're just like, oh, yeah. It's the same as being afraid. I would feel that trying to make a phone call, but it would stop me. And then I'd have to learn how to push through. So that's another thing that could be happening. You might be feeling excitement and just labeling it as fear because they're essentially the same feeling. But why? So why do we label these things this way? And I'm starting to learn some stuff. Again, I am not a professional psychologist or psychiatrist, but I've been studying a lot of psychology as I talked to you before. I'm going through this program that's digging into a whole bunch of my history to try and work out a bunch of kinks in my personality and work out a bunch of issues that I deal with and triggers that I have to deal with and all this kind of stuff. I want to fix it. And so I'm working really hard at fixing it. That's one thing, man. I just hate feeling like I'm stuck somewhere. You know what I mean? You ever feel that way?
Oh yeah. No, it's
And I feel
awful.
like there's a lot of people and I've been through phases in my life where I felt this way too, but I just like, well, that's just something I'm afraid of and so I'm stuck there. But I don't like feeling like I'm stuck. And so I'm like, I got to try and do something to fix this. And so I'll go and I'll learn and I'll read and I'll explore and I'll talk to friends of mine who are further down the road than me. And, I'll talk to friends of mine who are therapists and I'll be like, okay, this is kind of the track I'm on. Like, what do you think? Is this a good way to be on? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, no, that's awesome. You might also check out this, this, and this. Right. And so, like, then I'll go and I'll learn more and I'll try and figure it out. And I'll do all these exercises as dumb as they feel. And I'll come up with interpretive modern dance things that nobody's ever going to see and do all kinds of crazy exercises to try and work through all these issues. Right. And what I've learned is a lot of these labels, when we get that feeling, we can label it sometimes based on some hidden memory from our parents, our teachers, the culture that surrounded us. I just had it woken up to me like the church that I went to when I was a kid had like as I started to look at all this kind of stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is a reason, one of the memories that was foundational in creating a bunch of these labels. And so then I can go through and I can reconcile that and I can be like, oh, wait, what I was experiencing there wasn't necessarily true. It was just my perspective on it. It was just what I saw and how I internalized it. And it's not necessarily the truth. Not only is it not necessarily truth, it's also not something that I should base my whole life upon. And once we have these things exposed to ourselves, then we can start to make rational decisions and say, is this a label that I really feel comfortable living with the rest of my life? And this is the reason why it was a knee-jerk reaction. It was a habitual response that I had learned based on a memory that was foundational when I was a kid. And those can shape us in ways that in powerful ways that we might not have any idea about until we do some of this digging. But it's funny because I assign all kinds of things to myself, and then I go talk to my mom, and I explain some of this stuff to her, and she was like, "Well that's not true. That's I mean, what you believe isn't the truth of what was happening. That might be what you saw and what you thought, but then look at your cousin. Your cousin did this, and your other cousin did this, and then did this and this, and they're totally fine too, and whatever, and so it's okay. You're okay." But it's amazing how we can latch on to something, and it can start to define our lives. Alfred Adler, he was a psycho therapist. He was a psycho.
He was a psychoanalyst.
He was a psychoanalyst, a psychotherapist, whatever, right? So there were these three main guys back in the mid 1900s. You had or early mid 1900s. You had Sigmund Freud, you had Alfred Adler, and you had Carl Jung. And I've been deeply getting into the work of Carl Jung. And then my friend, who's also a counselor, was like, "You really need to look into Adler too." Freud is kind of out there, and we're trying to figure out how he got to be like the main guy in college psychology, like when you
Because he
actually
was
take
so out there.
psychology and stuff. Maybe, maybe,
It might
but
help.
there's so much
Yeah.
teaching that's Freudian,
It is.
and
There's
it's like,
so much. That's why I didn't do therapy in college. When I noticed that it
mhm.
was all Freudian, I was just like, I'm not stepping into that. That's just
Right, right. So he kind of went his own direction, and then he became the one that so much psychology, modern psychology, is based off of. But it's not necessarily the the. I won't say it's not the right path, but it's definitely not the whole picture.
exactly, yeah.
There are elements in there that we can take and hang our hat on for sure. However, it's not the full picture. And so we start to go I started looking into Carl Jung. He's very much spiritual, in his approach. There's a lot of spiritual aspect in Carl Jung. And then Alfred Adler, he talks about life scripts. And these are scripts that get written, just like I was talking about before, based on our early childhood memories. Sometimes even when we're like 3 years old or younger. And how many memories do you actually have that you can actually remember from when you were younger than 3 years old? Not very many, if you're like me. I have, like, one early memory from when I was, like, 2 that I can still visualize in my head.
Most people have zero. I have two
Right.
memories.
Mhm.
But
But things happened to us and around us, maybe not even to us, maybe we just saw it happen. And so then we determined a life script based on something we saw when we were too young to remember it. And these things can happen. And I'm not saying you have to like dig super far into like you don't have to like go get hypnosis and try and remember these memories that are buried so deep. You don't necessarily have to do that. But one of the things is you have to challenge the script. And so I applaud you for coming here with this topic because you're like, why? Why am I scared? I shouldn't be scared. And you're right. You shouldn't be scared to just make some art. It's not a scary thing. However, something you might have some memory that is still unknown to you that might have formulated a life script for you about art that then makes you have this emotional chemical response. So I don't necessarily know I don't know the answer for you. I can't tell you what it was. I can't even tell you what the script is. I can tell you this though. Whatever it is, it's probably not that big a deal, and it's probably just a habit. And so how do we get away from that? We use rational thinking. And we can start to develop a habit of thinking rationally about this thing. So then when we start to feel that emotional rise, we can start to be, oh, I'm having an emotion. This helps with through doing this process, by the way, you're going to become more and more self-aware. And that's a good thing. Because the more self-aware we are, the more we can notice what's happening in our body and then say, oh, that's all that's happening. I can handle this. Okay. So what do? When I'm feeling a heightened emotion and I'm feeling, I start remembering, oh, these are chemical responses happening in my mind and in my body, right? And all this is going to subside quickly if I don't hang my hat on it and latch onto it and hold on to it. It's all going to be over in like 90 seconds if I do nothing. But I can help myself ease my mind. I can breathe. I can drink water. These things can help us to rebalance the chemicals in our body. More oxygen means more blood flow. It sends things through our body more. It helps us to regulate. Exercise, especially aerobic exercise that is cardiovascular, helps your heart and your lungs, right? That also can speed up that circulation process, which circulates all this stuff through our body and filters those chemicals through more quickly. So water, exercise, deep breathing, stuff like that, that can help you physically be done with the emotion quicker and help you regulate more quickly. And then just speaking to yourself rationally. Oh my gosh, I'm afraid. Well, okay, this is an emotion. All right, I know how to handle this. Take some deep breaths, calm myself down, and I can remember that it's okay. And we talked in the last topic a lot. Ryan talked beautifully about freedom and what it is. The freedom to do these things, right? You will feel more free the better you get at self-awareness and self-regulation because you're like, oh, I don't have to be held hostage by an emotion. Emotions come and go like the weather, as my friend says. My friend Kate, who also is a counselor. She's like, emotions come and go like the weather. So whatever state you're in right now, it is going to change. It's not going to last forever. And sometimes that scares me. Sometimes that makes me all upset and anxious because I'm having a good feeling. I love this good feeling. I love feeling good and happy and loved and whatever it is, right? But I know then I think about, oh, well, emotions are like the weather. It's going to change. I'm like, I don't want it to change. I want to stay this way. And then I get all anxious about being happy, right? Like, now what? Take some deep breaths, do some stretching, you know, become self aware. You can talk to yourself. It's okay. It's okay. And then what you can find is you will smooth out a lot of these responses and it'll be good. So now it's my turn. I've talked for a really, really long time. I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and he's going to tell you the real story. So, Ryan.
Wow, the real story. All right, well, thanks for telling the fake story, Joe, the whole time. No. Honestly, what you had to say was really good.
Neonside says your parents told you suck.
Mhm.
That could be it. Or they made they made art illegitimate for you in some way or
Mhm.
whatever, told you it wasn't viable or whatever, right? But
Yeah,
sometimes adults can be wrong.
yeah. Or you could have expectations and you're worried you're gonna do art once and not have a good time, and then you'll ruin it for yourself. Things like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. But I think everything Joe
Yep.
had to say was really great. I like how that you dove into the psychology of it a bit, and I think that
Mm.
yeah, I mean, there's so many times where we are scared of the outcome of something because we know that we have a feeling that we know that it's going to put us on a trajectory. And that trajectory is a better version of ourselves, but it also means we have to give up on some things like being lazy. And we really like being lazy. Or even though we also actually hate it and we don't like being lazy at all because it doesn't make us feel good, but something in our brains tells us like, yeah, yeah, but if you decide you want to be the best version of yourself, that means you can't do this, that, and the other thing anymore. And you like those things. And it's like, I don't like those things though. Yeah, that happens. Our brains do that. It's like we got these little demons in our head, sometimes, and we gotta shoo them away. But yeah, there's a lot that Joe said that was really spectacular, and I don't feel like I have too much to add, but I do have something practical for you, and I would recommend trying this. You should, or you could, rather, you could at least try this out. Either get a calendar in real life or find one online that has the boxes. Each day has a box, right? And you fill out the box in it. You know what I'm talking about? Those kinds of calendars.
Yep.
Draw a little image in that calendar. It can be of anything. But every day, have a little image for every little block. And you know what's cool about that? If you miss a day, you can decide, I'll just fill in 2 blocks today, the next day. Or if you missed 5 days in a row, you're like, okay, well, now I got to fill 5 out. Or you could leave them blank. It doesn't matter to me. But if you want, okay, can you find this to music? I don't know. But anyways, you can draw a little bit. You can fill out a little box with a little drawing every day. And I think that if you do that, a lot of this fear will probably go away. Unless it's like deeply psychological. But, something that I experienced when I was, I've always wanted to not be afraid of anything because a lot of times fear is just kind of illogical. Like, I recognize that the reason I'm afraid of something isn't realistic, Like, I remember when I was a kid, I'd have to turn off the light and at that very moment also figure out how I'm going to jump into bed so that the darkness wouldn't get me and the monsters underneath my bed couldn't jump out and grab my legs and pull me under or something. Yeah, I don't even know idea. I thought, it's like, oh, there's definitely an alligator under there or something that if once I turn the lights off, he's going to come out and try to... What? You thought yours was an alligator,
Dude!
Yeah.
No!
What?
That's why my butt tingles. The alligator tickles my butt.
Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. That's it. Those tickly alligators. But luckily now I'm in Australia and we don't have alligators here, so I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. We have crocodiles. Far less scary. Anyways, no, obviously I've conquered that fear a long time ago. And it's like, that's like such a silly thought. As a kid, there's nothing under your bed. There was nothing under your bed. You checked before you turned the light off. Why would there be something there now? Like, there's something illogical about that. And at some point, you just have to, you can either be afraid of it forever, or you can acknowledge it and face your fear and reason with your own brain to get your brain to be over it. And I didn't want to be afraid of spiders because everybody's afraid of spiders. And my mom's like deathly afraid of spiders. And I think it's silly. Like these little tiny things, people say, oh, they're deadly and so on and so forth. And they're not. Like, so it's like, can they kill you? Yeah, but like a dog can kill you way easier. Like, not just like way easier, like probably way more injuries that are significant due to dogs every year than there are to spiders, and like spiders are just like little guys, why is anybody afraid of these things? And so you know what I did? I looked up a website that would show me information about spiders so I could understand them, be fascinated by them, be fascinated by their little world that they live in, um, and read about the factoids of like, what do you call those? Basically misinformation, myths, that's the word. Spider myths. I looked up spider myths, so I looked up all the things that people say about spiders that aren't true. And I looked up, and through the article, they showed pictures of spiders, and it was very detailed and interesting, bless you. And so that's what I did. And I faced that fear. And then guess what? Stop being afraid of spiders, you know? And is that always the route that works? Maybe not, you know? But in my opinion, it's better to try that than it is to sit there and be like, the way I see it a lot of times is like, man, if a spider walks into the room and I lose control of my attitude, if I lose control of my physical body like my mom does because I'm so frightened, that is so ridiculous and unreasonable and like, to me, that is stupid. And I'm sorry, but it is dumb. So, Wix, thank you. They are adorable. Tummy spiders are so cute. Okay, so I'm like, why? I'm gonna let this little tiny creature control my life for brief moments of time just because it walked into the room and I saw it? No. And plus, it's irrational. It's an arachnid. It's like it's like tiny, nothing. And it's like, okay, I gotta fix that. I gotta get over that. So I learned about spiders. I entered their world to understand them and reason with it and come to the point where it's like spiders are interesting, fascinating, rather than scary, right? So you're looking at this and you say, well, I have an irrational fear of art. I love art. I enjoy it every time I do. I'm proud, so on and so forth. And it's not like I'm scared of what other people think. I'm just, it's just for me. Like, I do it and I like it. It's a hobby. Like, that's great. And yet you're afraid of it. It's irrational. And you recognize that. It's a paradox. And so, for me, irrational fears, the best way to conquer them is to rationalize them. And for me, that takes digging into it, giving it a little bit of time, fascinating yourself with the subject, and etc. And over time, instead of feeling like scared, you feel like interested, excited maybe, or at least indifferent, like, okay, whatever, it's in the room, who cares? Not change, there's no effect on my life. So I wish the spider the very best, carry on. So it's like, maybe that would help you. I don't know. Maybe if you get a little calendar and draw every day, that could be inspiring. Maybe if you started to research art, that would calm some of your fears that you might not know why you have the fear, right? And Joe was talking about this. Something could have happened when you were young or whatever that distilled this sensation of fear into your experience and is returning. Emotions are subconscious, meaning they're habits. They're responses that are trained responses based on how you responded to things in the past or have been told to respond to things based on other people's responses. So my fear was inherited by watching my mom be afraid of spiders. It taught me spiders are to be feared.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. And so I confronted that fear and I made it, at some point I'm like, that shouldn't be my habitual go-to response. That shouldn't be my emotion. That shouldn't be how I just off the cuff, if I'm not thinking about it, just how I react out of knee-jerk reaction. It shouldn't be that way. It should just be something different, like, oh, hey, look, cute little spider, or even just, all right, spider, normal, as
Uh-huh.
nothing
They're
new.
everywhere.
They're everywhere. Nothing new. They predate dinosaurs, like, pretty great. So
And just because you don't see them doesn't mean they're not
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah. They're
They're
tiny, tiny,
everywhere.
tiny ones. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Even big
everywhere.
ones, and they're hiding.
Yeah, and that's how art is too. You got big and tiny arts, and they're all hiding everywhere. Can't even see them.
Yep.
In fact, everything you're seeing right
Hmm.
now is art in a way. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
it is a beautiful world that we live in. You know, people see mountains. Some people say that is art. That is beauty. You know, some people see
See,
a blade of grass. That is incredibly beautiful.
I look at Ryan, and I'm like, man, work of
Masterpiece.
art.
Masterpiece.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That's what I'm
It's a
saying.
work of art. We're all pieces. We're all works of art. We're all works in progress, and we're all beautiful. Um, I think hopefully that just that ability to confront it might go a long way in resolving whatever it is in your heart that's making you feel this way. Um, or not even just feel this way, but to allow the feeling to conquer you. At some point, this is also another case of a chance to learn emotional control or emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence or emotional control is literally just when you experience an emotion, how do you handle it? Is it with intelligence or is it without intelligence? That's it. You could say it that way. And that's basically emotional intelligence. That's emotional control. Emotional control is not necessarily that you control your emotions and what's going to come, because some of that is, well, like I said, it's habit. And some habits you didn't create, you know, they just are. And emotional, like, you would have to process those and over a long period of time and create new habits. And, you know, it's whatever, it's work. But, um, and you can do that. And it's a beautiful thing to participate in that. It's a beautiful, it like you feel yourself growing when you decide to do that. But for the time being, when you experience an emotion, are you intellectually, um, what's the word, interacting with it? Are you interacting with that emotion on an intellectual level, or are you letting it take control of your life? Is this little spider in the room making the decision for how you think, how your whole body moves against your own will? Like, is it taking control of your life? Are you a slave to a tiny little spider that doesn't even know you exist? Are you a slave to this art that doesn't even have consciousness?
Mm.
Or are you going to be a master who doesn't, a master of your own self who doesn't have to listen to those emotions that you don't even want to be there? I think that your excitement for it is great, but the fact that your excitement can also be fear, power problems here and there, but okay. Sorry about that, guys.
You
Internet.
froze up a little for
Yeah.
me, but
Okay, we're back, I think. Sorry
I
about
mean the
the,
stream looks like it was okay.
yeah, that's happened twice now. Hopefully, well, it probably won't
Ah,
happen again because we're going
okay.
to be ending soon. But I just wanted to say that's the final thing. You, your emotions are going to be what they are, and those will be handled as you go. But emotional intelligence is just simply when you get that emotion, are you engaging with that intellectually? Are you saying, okay, this is the way I feel, but am I going to let that feeling cloud my judgment? Am I going to let that feeling decide for me what I do next? And sometimes that answer should be yes, and sometimes that answer should be no. Because emotions aren't necessarily designed to decide our life for us. And if they did, we would only be living a life of response, never a life of, I don't know what the word is. Anyways, outside of response, where you're not just responding to
Mm,
everything, you're actually driving the car. And so emotions
mm,
are good. They're useful tools. They teach us, they help us recognize things. Really important. They are useful responses, the useful, helpful response system to use. But you have to engage with it intellectually in order to get use out of it that is helpful for your life. And so when you experience these fears, until you can solve and resolve them, I think it's best to engage with them in an intellectual manner and decide your action regardless of the fear. And to me, that could be just every day researching art or drawing a little bit and letting your emotional response eventually be something different than what it is right now. And it can still be excitement without having to be. And so I don't want you to necessarily completely normalize it where it's not fun anymore for you, right? It should be enjoyable. Just a little bit of a change, a little bit of shift in perspective there could, I think, go a long way for you. But with that, I don't really have much else to add. I think Joe really covered it very well. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. And yeah, thank you. All right. Thank you for this topic. Really appreciate it. Joe, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, guys, I just scrolled back up through the chat. I was not paying attention to the chat at all while I was talking, and I saw some of you guys saying things to me, and I'm really sorry that I didn't reply to them. Yeah, it's a work in progress. I'm trying to get better at reading the chat while I'm talking, but sometimes I just get on a roll. And
today I have not been good at it, but some days it's good.
But thank you guys so much. I see Wix, I see Kendra, you guys are saying stuff to me while I was talking. I'm sorry I didn't reply, but you guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. So Kendra, yes, we were talking about roller coasters last night. Yes. And Wix, it is a pretty good book.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. And if I missed anybody else, I'm really sorry. But yeah, again, thank you.
Yeah. Everybody, you are so awesome. Everyone who participated in the chat, we really appreciate your words and your own experiences and your tools to help resolve these conflicts that we all experience. And Joe, thank you for being here and giving your best, and I appreciate that. I think you said a lot of great things that were really helpful.
Well, thank you. I hope they are. I hope you guys find some value in this stuff. We're all growing.
I didn't
miss you, Jeff.
No, we did. We always miss you, Jeff, because we can never get enough.
One of these days we're gonna aim better, and then we won't miss you.
Yeah, just need more dexterity.
We'll hit you with mind-blowing accuracy.
Right. You better watch out, because you don't know what we're gonna hit you with.
Better watch out.
Mind-blowing accuracy.
Yeah. I work with sharp tools.
Oh, piercing, even. Vibrations that will hurt your ears. All right. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for joining the stream with us today. We hope you've had a good time, at the very least. At the very most, we hope that something was stirred within your brain or your heart today that really made you feel like, life is pretty cool, and I'm interested in seeing where this goes, and carrying on and resolving the many worries we might have throughout life. This has been Don't Worry Wednesday, and we've been so happy to have you guys. We love you all, and we wish you a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you next week. Yeah.
It'll be good.
All right, that's right.
We love you guys.
You don't have a choice. All right. Bye, guys. I love you.
See you later.